Hello, Dr. Bala here. I want to say welcome, and it's great to be back here with you on the 19th edition of our medical reality talk show. And today we are doing part two of the do's and don'ts of mentorship. And it's great to be here with you today. I'm Dr. Gustin K. Bala, your host, and I'm joining and hosting from Guangzhou, China. It's exciting. The last time we had a male, we have Professor Masangi Pangbala joining us from the USA for part one of this topic. Today we have a female joining us all the way from Canada, and she's gonna be doing the part two of this topic, do's and don'ts of mentorship. So I'm excited. I'm glad to have with me today Pastor Sonyan Tekli, and a great woman of God, and humble, passionate, and very loving. It's good to have her with me today. So I want to welcome you, Pastor Sonyan.
Thank you, Dr. Augustine. I'm so excited to be here. We're just so excited as a church, what's happening through the medical fellowship, and I'm just excited to be here.
Thank you so much for coming, and we are excited to have you. So today, like I said, we are discussing the do's and don'ts of mentorship. Last week we were talking more professional. We had a psychotherapy who is also a professor coming from a professional background, and he said a lot. It was a very long show. Today, it's also good to have a pastor who also mentor a lot of people, and I mean church from all background, and it's good to have you, and also a female mother. I think you play a double or triple role here, so it's really great having you. And we want to, I just say a little about you. You are a pastor from C365, and with many years of experience in global ministry. But what you want to tell a little about who is Pastor Soyan?
So I'm Sonia, and I have 4 children. So that alone, that's a big mentorship role as it is. Um,
Yeah.
by day, I work for a charitable organization called Canadian Baptist Ministry. So I'm in a project management role, working with people, keeping on deadlines and tasks, and really doing ministry globally all around the world through this organization. And then I pastor as well with my husband at Church 365. And so I really believe in mentorship. I really believe in pouring ourselves into other people is the way actually to multiply our efforts. And so I'm really excited about this topic today.
Yeah. So thank you. That's what I say. I think today going to be very exciting, and because we have a mother, a pastor, somebody who been into global ministry, and we expect that to be great. So to begin the conversation, what is a mentorship, and not just mentorship, but what would be your definition of a successful mentorship?
I really believe successful mentorship is actually rooted in relationships. So, in our pastoral ministry, my husband and I have had many people approach us and say, "Will you be my spiritual father? Will you be my spiritual mother?" And often we will say no to people. And the reason why we say no is that we really believe that type of mentorship role, it's a commitment to relationship. And so you need time as a mentor. If you're going to commit to someone and say, I am going to be your mentor or your spiritual mother or spiritual father, or I'm going to apprentice you, whatever that is, if you're in the medical field and you're helping to train somebody, it is a commitment of time. And so I believe successful mentorship, it's related, it starts really in relationship. And to have a really healthy mentorship relationship, I believe there has to be some kind of synergy or chemistry. So
Mm.
when you have a mentoring relationship, you have to be with somebody that you enjoy being with. You have to be able to
Yeah, yeah.
feel like you connect on a personal level, because real mentorship, for my opinion, is you're pouring yourself into
Mm.
somebody else. And so you need somebody that's receptive, but you have to have that base of having a really strong relationship first. Even if you don't know each other, it's like a
You
commitment.
know, let me come in here. When you say successful mentorship has to do a relationship, that kind of like wow. So because of course relationship is an agreement, right? Like if
Yes.
all type of relationship, there should be an agreement here. There should be, I like the word you use, there should be this chemistry. There should be something that connects us, or else it can exist. And so if mentorship is a relationship, that means we should be able to say, yes, I think I connect, that I can mentor you, or no, I can mentor you, because
Yeah.
that doesn't really sound a little bit harsh to say. If I came out like, I want you to be my mentor, you said no.
I think it's being clear what mentorship is, right? So I think some people mistake mentorship like a title. Some people say, well, this person is my spiritual father, or this person's my spiritual mother, or Dr. Augustine is my mentor in surgical studies, whatever it is. Sometimes people will use that mentorship relationship almost as title throwing, right? Rather than actually being in the process and saying, this is somebody that's either discipling me, training me. I want to learn everything I can from them. And so perhaps maybe in our ministry we offended a few people by saying no, but I think we were saying no because we understood the level of commitment, and we have said yes to people. So but it's really understanding that it is a commitment. It's a commitment as a mentor. If I'm going to mentor someone, I'm making a commitment to that person, that I'm going to invest into them, and I hope that they're making a commitment to me, that they're going to take their time, they're going to listen, they're going to grow and be teachable.
Yeah. So I want to agree with that, because, and I think this go across every spectrum here, because I was in a discussion and somebody said, hey, I think church mentorship is quite different from professional mentorship. And I was like, I don't think so. And they were like, hey, especially, you use the word spiritual father, spiritual mother, like professional in professional setting, we don't have fathers and mother. You have, your professional colleagues. But I disagree with that, because if mentorship is a relationship, then that we have different roles to play here. The mentee cannot be the mentor, and the mentor cannot be the mentee. And if it is a relationship as well, there should be something that connect us here. There should be requirement that we, both agree there should be a commitment here. So that takes me to the next question. What is the requirement for successful mentorship? What we come to specifically the mentor and the mentee, what to look for, but generally, what you think would be what would be required for a successful mentorship relationship? Put it that way.
I think you kind of alluded a little bit to it, Dr. Augustine. It's really a commitment to this process together, right? So I believe a mentorship is actually a two-way commitment. So often, um, a professional or a pastor, or someone that's working in a trade, people will look up to him and say, okay, I want to be mentored by that person. But they don't realize that that request is actually a really big request. If we take for yourself, if, you are um, yourself preparing to be a surgeon, right? And you're studying under other people. At one point, someone's going to ask you to study under you, but that's a significant amount of investment and time that you're going to pour into that person. And so a mentee has to really realize that this is a big commitment that they're asking, and actually reciprocate the amount of time that they're going to also pour into that. So, often people, like I said, will look at mentorship like a title and say, okay, well, I'm being mentored, or um, I'm shadowing this person and learning from them. But are you showing up on time, right? Are you making your commitment? Are you late? Do you do the assignments that your mentor has asked you to do? Are you putting that investment in? So I believe it really is a two-way commitment.
Wow. Yeah, so definitely there is a two-way commitment here, and that's required commitment, because you have to know what you're going to be putting in here, and you have to be willing to put that in, or else the relationship is not going to work, and that could lead to disappointment or that. And I think probably that should take us to differentiating mentorship and a mentor from people who motivate us, from people who inspire us. And do you want to say that there are people who motivate us, there are people who inspire us, but they are not our mentor? Should I put it that way? Do you want to say something about a mentor, a motivator, and somebody who inspires you?
Yeah, I believe there's multiple types of relationships that we have. And I believe to have kind of a healthy walk, we need kind of three different types of relationships. We need people that are kind of ahead of us, people that are on the same level as us, and people that we ourselves are mentoring. And so when you divide your life, you can kind of think about those different relationships that you have, right? When there's people ahead of us, sometimes people will not commit to mentor us, but we can still glean from them. We can still learn from them. We can appreciate what they do. We can serve alongside them. Sometimes people might not have the ability to commit to mentoring you, but if you serve alongside them and volunteer or help, you're going to learn so much just by shadowing that person. So there's lots of different ways that we can grow even without the process of mentorship. But like I said before, that mentorship process, it really is almost like a relationship, right? You're choosing to enter into a relationship with this person and you're making a commitment to each other.
Wow. So I want to welcome all of you that are following us, whether from YouTube, from Facebook, from Instagram, from Twitter. We want to say welcome, and you're welcome as well to sending your comments in the chat room, and you can ask questions. If we see questions coming in the chat room, we'll be able to address some of them. So you're welcome. I want to welcome all of you following us from Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. You can send in your comments as well. We will be reading that later. Yeah, so that is very important, and differentiating who a mentor is from people who motivate us, who inspire us, and that we could learn a lot from, right? And this really kind of gave me a clear picture. There are a lot of people that have motivated me, that inspire me, and I learn a lot from them. They're not probably my mentor because we already have a personal relationship that they already put themselves into me in different ways, whether professional, spiritual, whatever way. But I learned a lot from them, and I have been able to do a lot because I watched their life or see what they did. And yes, they are people who motivated me and inspired me. Very important, but I think that's quite different from mentorship. That takes me to the next question as well. What is required from a good mentor? So, talking about what are some of the standards or values to look for if you want to submit to someone as a mentor? If I'm thinking to, and I think even professionally, right? When I plan to do neurosurgery. I was thinking, especially when I had the privilege to come to China, and I was thinking, who is the best guy in China in neurosurgery? One of the best professor. I was checking, right, and when I read my professor profile and what he has done, what he's achieved, his skills, area of focus. Yeah, I think this is a guy I want to be with. So, what is kind of required from a good mentor, if we could put it that way?
Well, I'll start with a good mentor should be selective in who they choose to mentor. So I'll put it this way is when you start to be a person of influence, people will look for you to mentor them, right? They're going to seek you out. And we shouldn't let our pride or our ego take on people that we're not ready to invest into, right? So as you become a neurosurgeon, you may have a multiple amount of people seeking you, Dr. Augustine, right? But you need to be selective of who you make that time commitment to. And a good mentor should really see mentorship as part of their legacy. Okay, so take, for example, at the pastoral role, right? If I see my role is raising up other pastors, if I do that, I actually multiply my ability to serve people. But if my focus is, well, I just want to be the biggest and best pastor that there ever was, and I want the focus to be about me, I'm limited who I can serve. I can only serve those that I have physical time for. And it's same, you apply that to every trade, every career, every area in the medical field, right? If you would invest yourself into somebody, maybe in your lifetime, two, three
Mm,
people, if you're able to raise up three other surgeons, right? You think about that, you've multiplied your effort, you've tripled it. Um, if you just look at what you could do as one person, right? It's limited. And so a mentor will not be about building themselves. They're not about building their career. They're not about building their fame. A good mentor will realize that they want to leave a legacy through other people. And so when you're looking for a good mentor, like I said before, you need that chemistry. You need to find somebody that you connect with. And that sometimes is sharing the same values, sharing the same passions. I think in the medical field, there's a lot of questions about ethics and questions about how you might do your medical profession. And I know there's rules and guidelines, but there's also personal ethics, right? So finding somebody that your values align with and your passions align with. Find somebody that's committed to the mentorship process, that they understand what they're committing to do for you, right? Are they just going to have a title and say, oh, I'm mentoring Augustine? Or are they actually going to spend that time with you? Are they going to let you go alongside them in surgery? Or are they going to let you, shadow you or pour into you or teach you, and just making those, what they're committing to, really, really clear. Finding somebody that's willing to share both their skills and their wisdom. Like I said, a good mentor, they're going to be willing to reproduce themselves, and somebody that might be willing to handle if you surpass them. One of the greatest compliments as a mentor is if you're able to mentor someone that will go further than you, either in ministry, in your career. And that takes real humility, to have a mentor that is humble enough and comfortable enough to allow their mentee to surpass them. Man, that's somebody with amazing character. And so these are things that I'd be looking for in somebody to mentor me.
Wow, wow, and this is very interesting when you talk about trying to focusing more on reproducing yourself more than trying to just build a frame, because I think many times whether in our professional life or whatever we do, we want that influence. We think being influential is how many people want to look up to you, or how many things you can do and people can praise you. And because sometimes just trying to invest into 1 or 2%, nobody really see that, right?
They don't.
Nobody may even know you have so much to offer, and so we may want to spread our wings, and have so many people looking up to us. And I think that's the truth. Many times we have so many people that we consider mentees, and we don't really mentor them because we don't have the time. But we can say, I have mentored, thousands of people. I am a spiritual father of hundreds and thousands of people. Professionally, I have, taught thousands of professional people as a doctor. But I think many of those people probably never really have the time to take,
Yes.
2 or 3 important skills from us just to talk to. So that's very important. But I think the mentee also has a lot here. If that is the case, if I should be concerned about reproducing myself, then I don't want to have somebody that, after investing out of my time, out of my energy, and at the end of the day, is actually a failure. Like, I decide it's just going to be you or two, but I kind of realize that there is no connection. The chemistry is not there, and I invest all of my resources, my energy, my time, and everything. But at the end of the day, you're nothing close to me talked about. So if that's the case, then I should be careful who will be my mentee as well. I have to choose that this person has the potential. This person is willing to be able to copy me. They actually believe in me. They think I am the kind of person they want to be. So, what would be some of the requirement from a mentee if I want to be a mentor? What are some of the standards I would set? What are some of the values I will be looking for to accept somebody for mentorship?
When you were talking there, Dr. Augustine, I was really thinking about that process is actually takes discernment. And I believe there's a spiritual gift of discernment that can go across all career levels, and really discerning, is this person a right fit for me? Like you said, chemistry is a big part of that, time commitment. And sometimes a really good mentor will see kind of the people that are rough on the edges and have the most potential. I remember our first mentor, when my husband and I were serving under another pastor, and he would go after people in ministry, and my husband and I would be staring at him thinking, why are you chasing after this person? There's no potential in him, but he could see the diamond, inside these people. He could see the potential, and he was able to look past the rough edges. So sometimes the people that have the most potential don't aren't the most skilled. Sometimes we think, well, I want to mentor this person because look, they have this technical skill or they have this public speaking skill, whatever it is, whatever industry or career that you're in. Don't always look at the skill, because I would rather any day take somebody that has character, that has hard work, that is hardworking and is teachable, and I can do far more with that person than somebody that's highly skilled and is not teachable, doesn't have good character, isn't committed to the process, right? And so it's not always what it looks like on the outside. You really have to have that discernment to say, is this the right kind of person for us? Some things to look out for. You really want to find somebody that's committed to the process. There's nothing worse than trying to mentor somebody that shows up late, that cancels meetings, that isn't completing the tasks that you're giving them or the work. And so I would say I have a very low tolerance for that. If I've made a commitment to somebody, I won't give them 10 chances. I will make it very clear after the first time where they've not made their commitment to say that my time is valuable. And if you want this relationship, you have to value my time. So I think those parameters are really important, because when you've made that commitment to someone, when they don't follow their commitment, they're actually taking away time from somebody else that you could be pouring into. And so it's important that
Yeah.
those expectations are very clear. And I think some of those things you're looking for are actually similar to the mentor. You want somebody that shares the same values and passions. You want somebody that's
Mm.
hardworking. You want somebody that has the right motivations in seeking you out as a mentor. Are they looking for a title? Are you one of like 10, 15 people that they can say, oh, I'm being mentored by Dr. Augustine, I'm being mentored by Dr. So and so? You don't want those people, because their motivation isn't the right motivation. They're not there to learn from you. And like I said, the biggest thing I think is somebody that's teachable and humble. Anybody that's teachable, they can learn anything from you. But you can teach them the skill, but it's very hard to teach people character.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. And somebody sent me a message, an email. I love your professional life. Been following you. I'm a young person. I'm in college. I want you to be my mentor. And this, it was a female in the first place. So I was like, okay. My first test was, can you send me a one page, write out why you would think I would be a good mentor for you? And they couldn't write, one paragraph straight for me. And that was just, I just ignored them, like, no, right? Because if you can't just write one paragraph to tell me why you think I even inspire you, so I'm not sure I was ready to give my time to that kind of thing. And I agree, right? Spiritually, the gift of discernment could be something very important, that you can be able to discern. Yes, I think this person, because sometimes it's not all on the physical, but well, not everyone have the gift of discernment.
Then,
So,
then you learn from experience, Dr. Augustine. The wrong decisions teach you when you don't have the gift of discernment.
yeah, so it becomes difficult in that case as well. Well, then you have to, I agree, look for some of the very basic requirement, like commitment, right?
Yes.
Is this person committed, right? And I think you can be able to see that if this person don't just want the popularity, well, I'm being mentored by this, person, and maybe because they want the title of your name to be attached to them, they can use you as reference, and people can be like, oh wow, if you've been mentored by this kind of person, then you should be good, even though they may not represent the portfolio. So some mentee just want the title, right? I'm being mentored by this person, and they can use your influence to get their way, not because they really want to be committed and be trained or to learn something from you. And the same thing, some mentors just want the popularity that they have many mentees, right? Not because they're already, reaching out to them and putting out themselves. And I think both way we should be honest to ourselves. Is this mentorship, or we just trying to talk something here that we're not doing? And I think that's very important to mention. And if that's the case, sometimes, like I said, we may not have the spirit of discernment, but if we notice that this relationship is not going well, I think there should be a point that we can say, hey, uh, you know, like you were saying, you're talking about being intolerant. I also very intolerant to, not being committed and just being less Jessica. I would definitely cut it off, right? And sometimes I feel like I'm a little harsh, but I I can want it somewhere where that we either going to achieve it or not achieve it. Yeah. So let's go to our last question before we go. We have said over and over that mentorship is relationship, and definitely there could be a lot of different relationship that we'll be able to see as we go through this kind of interaction. So what will be the types or the category of relationship in mentorship? I believe definitely there are levels and there are different type of interaction we have here. Do you want to talk about that before we go?
So I kind of alluded to it earlier. I really believe that there are really three main relationships we have in our life. We have people that are ahead of us, so people that are further along. And I think no matter where you are in your career or your ministry, you should always be looking to, learning from, even if it's not an official mentorship relationship, we need to be in relationship with people that are further ahead from us because that's how we grow. If we think we've arrived and we've learned everything, then we actually stop growing. The second type of relationship we need are people that are on the same level as us. So that would be our colleagues. These would be people in the same professional circles. They're doing the same sort of work with us, but we're able to collaborate with them. We're able to share ideas. We're able to share our joys. We're able to share our failures and have a safe place of community. And so that second relationship of people that are on the same level as us, that's so important for our emotional health and actually for our growth. And lastly, I think we need people that are following behind us. And I think a lot of people are so worried about their own career, worried about their own journey, that sometimes they forget that there's growth when you train somebody else. And so sometimes just that verbalization and explaining to people, this is how you do it, and this is how you not do it, and this is what you need to look out for. You actually grow more when you train somebody else. And so that actually will push your career further. There's great examples actually in the Bible of these three types of relationships. When we know the Apostle Paul, when he had that experience on the road to Damascus. He was the Christian killer before. He was going through all of the regions and rounding up Christians, putting them in prison and killing them. And then he wanted to do ministry and no one trusted him. He tried to go to the apostles, and the scriptures in Acts 9 say that they were actually fearful of him and they didn't believe that he was a real disciple. But there was somebody in that group, and it was Barnabas. He saw something in Paul that nobody else saw. And he actually spoke up for Paul, and he explained that he had a ministry and he supported him. And Barnabas was actually the first to take Paul out on ministry. He brought him to Antioch, and they ended up doing ministry together. And so you have this relationship where somebody's a new convert. There's somebody that sees something in him. If that was me, I wouldn't want to take Paul on. I'd be like, you Christian
Yeah.
killer. Like, I wouldn't see the value in him. But it took a Barnabas to see something in Paul. And think about it. What if there was no Barnabas? Would
Yeah.
there have been a ministry for Paul? I'm not sure.
No,
People
there's
might
gonna be
not
no
have
song.
trusted him, right? Might not have. And we don't
There's
hear
gonna
much
be
of
no
Barnabas, right?
Paul. Yeah.
He's just listed so for such a small portion in scripture, but he was Paul's first mentor, and you see the
Yeah.
relationship progress. They went from mentor to being on the same level together, and then eventually they both begin to mentor other people. We see Barnabas mentoring John Mark, and you see Paul mentoring Timothy and others, and so that process is reproduced. And so, yeah, I would like to encourage people today. I know time is running short and we need to close, but have that spirit of Barnabas and that discernment. When God gives you an opportunity, don't just look for the people that have the most skill or talk the most. Sometimes people will talk a lot and tell you that they're good at something when maybe they're not. But to have that discernment, to really look for kind of that diamond in the rock. I see Paul like that diamond in the rock. Everyone else saw this ugly thing, this person it was a high risk to take Paul on or to even trust him. And yet Barnabas was able to see that if he would just chisel away that rock, if he would cut it, a master craftsman of a diamond doesn't look beautiful when it's found. It just looks like a cloudy rock. But a master craftsman knows exactly what angle to cut it at, how to polish it and make it into something of value. And that's what mentorship is. When we are make that commitment to mentor someone, we're taking something that's not beautiful, it's not finished, it's hard work. You have to put that effort in, but when you make that effort, the potential you could have a diamond in your hand and not know it.
Wow, wow. So that's just amazing. Thank you for that. Parting statement. Mentorship is like a diamond in the rock. You need to get it there. See it when no one see it and be able to ship it. And I think that's amazing. And many of us doing amazing things today. People saw us when no one saw us, right?
Yeah.
And they ship us, and many of us are still being shipped by people who see us as diamond. When everyone think we are just a stone, we are just insignificant rock somewhere, the people who see us as a diamond, they're shipping us. And it's a glorious relationship. And I think I would encourage everyone else there, find that diamond in a rock and ship
Yes.
it. And those are us that are the stones in the hands of those, that are shipping us. Yes, because it's painful, right, to ship you and put you into ship to bring out the
Yes.
diamond. It hurts, but yes, submit, and you can be that great diamond that people are going to be amazed of. Thank you so much, Pastor Sayan, for being with us today. It's been a great time, and I believe that we learned so much. It was an honor having you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless you, Dr. Augustine.
And we want to say thank you to all of you who been following. Thank you, Dr. Janita Maningogo had for that statement you put out there. And she says that most people who present themselves as mentors are only interested in popularity rather than the process itself. Thank you for that statement. And yes, and I think we say a lot about that. We want to say thank you, all of you, for joining us. And it was great having you. We hope to see you on our next edition and our next show. It was a great time talking about mentorship today. Thank you and see you.
God bless you.